Twenty-four minutes on to 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WEFM 99.9 Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your Is Your Turn program. Remember, Is Your Turn is an interactive program, so the numbers to call are 457-9997 if you're calling from a local landline, 532-9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, and you could also send us a message or call us on WhatsApp at 457-9997. The It's Your Turn program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil Ryan, Mr. Philbert, and Mr. Joel Providence. Good morning to you, Cecil.
Good morning to you, Karen, and good morning to my colleagues in studio, Philbert and Joel, and good morning to all who are listening, WEFM and It's Your Turn in particular at this point, also those who are listening to Star FM and Garfin Radio, and those who are on all the platforms. Good morning to you. And we welcome you very warmly to another Issue at Hand program. Today is December 8th. December 8th, the day after history was made at the Argyle International Airport. It's good to be reminded of that history. I'm sure soon in the program this morning, we're going to be hearing a lot about that. Courtesy Joel. But yes, history was made yesterday, and it's a good feeling this morning. It's good when we can talk about positive things. It's always so good, which we try to do always on this program. Pijan?
Yes, Cecil, thank you, and good morning. Good morning, Kieran. Good morning, Joel. And a pleasant good morning to all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And wherever you are listening to WEFM, good morning, and it's good to be back on another edition of Issue at Hand. It's a beautiful Sunday, filled with activities. Those of you who can, please go around to the Victoria Park later, as there will be secondary school football, primary and secondary school football finals. I'll say more about that during the course of the program. Joel?
Thank you, Pijan, Cecil, Kieran. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning to those of you outside the jurisdiction of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but nevertheless listening to the program. It's Christmas time, as Sister said. As we know, it's December the 8th. And as I've come into the station this morning, I felt so good. After so many months of the heat, dealing with the harsh weather, during the months from July right up to even into November. and so on. We felt the Christmas breeze, and it was wonderful to feel the breeze here at Windy Point, here down in at Lower Kittels. I want to say that I look forward very much to participating in this discussion and to certainly to listening to what you guys have to say, as well as the persons who may call into the program. But I just want to say in this introductory section that I just wanted to say a very special greeting to a former colleague of mine who was celebrated last evening at Diamond at a special function. She would have worked this year 40 years at within the Careers Institution, and I speak of Devon Catherine Wilson. And congratulations to her, as well as those persons who were recognized for their long service, 25 years, 20 years, and so forth. It was a great function. I would like to commend all those who were involved in the organization of the event itself. And I close Cecil and Pigeon by saying very special greeting to those persons, Vincentians who reside abroad. Yesterday I had privilege to see former colleague who played cricket with me, Mr. Evan Roberts, came in from England. We were at on the hillside overlooking the runway at Argyle, looking at the plains land, and we took advantage of the opportunity to talk about cricket, West Indies cricket in particular, Cecil, and it was good meeting up with him, and I trust that he will have a wonderful time in St. Vincent while he is here.
Talking about Diamond, a gentleman sent a message last week to remind us not to remind us, but really ask us to make a plea for animal owners around the persons who own animal around the Diamond area to tie them and keep them tied so that they don't. Right now, many of them, maybe as many as possible, are let loose to walk on inside the stadium and also on the road. And he was reminding me that, after all, Diamond is now a city. So I'm sure he's talking about the Correas, the fact that he can go there and get pharmacy services at Correas, and also other light hardware services and hardware, heavy hardware services at Correas, and the fact that you have Correas distribution, you now have Holiday Inn Express, you have a whole set of other facilities there, restaurant, supermarkets, but you also have the Maya Suite also there. And it sounds as if it's complete and it's growing, it's expanding rapidly. I believe that's what he was talking about. If he thinks I left out, then he can call, because I'm sure he's listening again. Joel?
Yes, it's developing nicely, and I like to frequent that area. I go to the Diamond Track like you do, Cecil. This week, for example, I went for about 5 times. Yes, and it felt good there. Sometimes you want to avoid the hustle and bustle of coming into Kingston and so forth. Except maybe I'll be in Kingston this afternoon when it is hopefully a little bit easier and so on to move around.
And there's football.
But there's football as well. So you can combine a number of things, So, yes, it's good that we see what is happening in Arnesville, in Diamond. And I even did some shopping in Pembroke at the marketplace and so on. It's not my usual thing, but I just felt that I should do something different. I went to Layu to try and see if I can get some plants at Nature Care.
Okay.
Yesterday morning, and then decided to stop at Gray's Marketplace and so on. So it's good that we're actually decentralizing in terms of commerce and so on. But specifically, you're speaking about Diamond and the surrounding areas as well and so on. We had some issues with the roads, the arteries connecting Belmont and Marico and so on to the Windward Highway and so forth. Now it seems as if after so many years that we see now we're coming close to the end and completion of these projects. So I think it's good to know. and that persons would then therefore have an interest in actually frequenting, if not living, in the East St. George, South Windward area and so on, because it is now beginning to look up and fit the bill of what we would expect of suburban St. Vincent.
You know, Gerald, I know we're gonna be speaking more at length about the activity of the landing of American Airlines yesterday, but I just want to say this. A lot of people don't know that, but I find it interesting that Captain Lanza, who flew one of the American flights she flew from the one from Charlotte into Anna's Vale. Would you believe that her folks used to own farmland at Argyle?
No, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, interestingly enough, her folks are from Cedars.
Okay.
Yeah, her mother really was born in Cedars really. And I remember as a youngster growing up, I used to go with some of her relatives, the young men. We used to go to Argyle, and they used to have peanut planted there. What is this? They used to have other things planted there. So they made regular trips to Argyle. Now, Lanza, an offspring, is making regular trips to Argyle, not to plant peanut or to do that kind of agricultural thing, but to land planes. I find it's an interesting thing, and I don't think too many people know about this, but it's so interesting. And again, the unfolding of history. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it shows.
like a Hollywood plot.
Yeah.
And it shows where we are moving from the land peasantry type of and so forth, and the struggles that we have had and so on, to now where we have skilled children, skilled offsprings who can make a living internationally and bring reward and benefit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole.
And even as we think and do development, that's what it is. That's development in action, actually. Moving from reliance on, as you said, peasant farming to now talking about industrial, service-oriented kind of society and economy. And Pijan, it would make an interesting platform movie.
As you just mentioned there, planting peanuts. We virtually dealt 100 years ago, 80 years ago, 60 years ago with primary products. And we didn't do anything with the primary products. We didn't convert them. We didn't transform them into something of a higher value and so on. And so that's where it was. So that is where it ended now. But now we have, and I'm just thinking aloud, that we have the airport, right? So the airport is not a primary product in the same context as we speak about agricultural products converted into something that is now ready for the kitchen table. But virtually the linkages are significant. You set up you build the airport, and then one links with the hotel, the accommodation, guest house. Then from there you get for the tour sites. Then you have link it back with the farming and so on. So there's so many linkages and so on to this central core development that took place at Argyle 7 years ago and so forth, and what it means to all of us. And it shows where we are going, especially to the combination of the production of goods and services for the benefit of all, and the value that we get out of it, and the upliftment of ourselves as a people, the reinforcement of our dignity and so on, is heightened as a consequence. And I think that those days in the past, we can look back, we must document it and so on. But at the same time, we must say we're not going back there.
Exactly. Yeah. Use those days as a platform, or the platform that came as a result of activities back then. We're using those platforms now to push forward. And I think I certainly agree with you when when you said that we must recognize that we're not going back there.
Yes.
Because I remember in those days that I refer to, the family used to be shot out in Cedars. For those people who are listening and who might remember, I remember the whole. I mean, the brothers and myself used to be very close then. But yeah, we have come a long way from those days to today, where we have Captain Lanza landing her American Airlines aircraft at Argyle.
Well, you usually talk a long way from the past and a long way from Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Pijan, yes, Pijan. yeah. Such
Yeah,
a
because we did
wonderful-
make the link sometime in a
You
previous program.
reminded us.
Yeah.
the
So
link
the
between
link Charlotte and Charlotte. Yes.
Yes. Pijan, not only in distance, but also in history. But also in history,
Yeah.
meaning colonial, early colonial history to today, independence. So it's physical distance in terms of Charlotte, where Charlotte is located in the United States. But as Joel reminded us of the link, Queen Charlotte, was it, Joel? That's
Yes.
a historical past.
Yes, the grandmother of Queen Victoria, who in turn was the grandmother of Queen Elizabeth,
Yes.
and so forth, and Queen Elizabeth, the mother of King Charles,
Yes.
or reigning monarch. There's a link.
Yeah.
I may remind persons that when the British came in 1763 and so forth, that it was they actually recognized that the eastern side of St. Vincent really had belonged to the Caribs, and they had actually referred to it as Carib territory, and so on. And then
Even as far back down as Argyle, you remember that? Even as far back,
yes. And then the western side, they had the parishes, the religious and municipal demarcations of St. Patrick's and David and so forth. But then they had Carib territory, and then after Carib, they decided now with the queen, the monarch at the time, to name it just simply Charlotte.
Yeah. It's a lot of history there. So yes, gentlemen, we have had these days, so you can't keep track of the number of activities that are happening. Unfortunately, some of them are negative, and we have to pay attention that they're happening, which is really an unfortunate occurrence. My understanding is that there have been additional killings. Interestingly enough, I was trying to reach out to Commissioner Williams to invite him or his designate. In fact, I've reached out really. I've not yet heard from him. Hopefully, we could have a fuller discussion on the state of crime in St. Vincent and the Grenadines one of these days. But we are thinking of an exciting program for next. Well, I should say not exciting, but a more in keeping with Christmas. We were thinking of an exciting program for next week. We can't announce it yet because we haven't reached out to. Not next week, the following week. Yes, following week, right, Leonard?
I think we're now at the 8th.
Yes.
Then you have the 15th, and then the 22nd.
Yeah.
Was it the 22nd or the 15th? Well, either one.
Well, no, we can't. I think the 22nd would be more appropriate, really, and it would add more excitement, really, and it would give us enough and more time to put the elements in place, to plan it and so on and so forth. So we're looking at the 22nd, really. Yeah, Pijan? The 22nd is what we're looking at for this, what we consider to be, what we think is going to be a very exciting Isiotan program. Well, Isiotan / WEFM, because we want to invite other elements of WEFM, program elements and personnel to be part of it. So it's we are looking forward for it. Of course, we have to get the approval of management so we could do those exciting things. So we haven't done that yet. So we will be doing that.
And I suspect on the 29th we'll do a review of the year.
Well, we normally do,
Yeah.
and I think we normally do.
Quite an interesting year.
Yeah, eventful and everything. So yeah, but in the meantime, there are some issues which you have indicated that we want to raise. Jolly, gonna take off or?
Yeah, well, I wanted just to go back first to the same issue with the land because we haven't completed that discussion.
Okay. Oh, you're right. The land.
Yes, I just wanted to just make a few comments.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And well, there were quite a number of persons in the vicinity of the airport yesterday to observe the three American Airlines planes on the ground at the same time. And earlier in the day, there was, I think, Caribbean Airlines had also flown in from New York. As well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
So
see that,
we had 4 international flights. So these planes, from my understanding, will carry approximately, say, 150
Each.
passengers and so forth.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just want to, while we celebrate the fact that we have had 4 international flights, and international meaning beyond the shores of the Caribbean, not from Barbados, St. Lucia, or Trinidad, or Grenada, wherever in this area, but beyond the Caribbean Sea. We are glad that we have had the 4 flights, but in order to get the kinds of numbers that we want it as a tourism destination and to get the kind of, we need to begin to have these sort of flights coming in regularly, 3 or 4 international flights every day, whether it's in December or whether it's in September. We need to have those flights in order to hit the kind of numbers that we want. In 2019, we had 96,000 visitors to our shows, which is the highest that I'm aware of. And then we know what happened in 2020 and COVID got in the way and so on. And only like in last year and this year, we're now seeing the resurgence. And it is possible that we may very well end the year somewhere in the vicinity of 94 to 95,000. I'm not sure, I can't speak definitively on the subject, but I tracking the numbers based on where we were at the end of September, October. That is where I believe that we're likely to be. We probably could have been in a better situation to surpass 2019 had it not been for Beryl and the challenges and what has now happened in the Southern Grenadines and so on. But a good milestone to hit would be 100,000 and then beyond. But 100,000 puts us in the ballpark. But we still have to aspire for what we want to get out of our tourism product. We have to be thinking in terms of getting up to 115, 120, 125, and so on before we can begin to say, well, we have truly reached. Bearing in mind that Grenada is now working towards 195, 200,000. St. Lucia is over 350,000. So you get a sense of where we still we have some catching up to do. But at the same time, we have to say, well, where we want to be, and then we have to think in terms of the average spend per visitor and so forth, and to say, well, what the tourism dollars will be coming into, what it means to us in terms of our coffers. But we are making progress. We want the planes to come, but we also want to have the places to stay and things to do by day and things to do by night. And the overall visitor experience must be spectacular, must be fantastic. And it's in a true, defined, definitive Vinci way. And so we have the airport. We get in the planes landing as we saw yesterday. Our accommodation at one time we were capped at 2,600 the rooms that we have available. I recall years ago when we only had like 1,200 and so on.
Yeah.
And I think we are now towards 3,000. And then we believe that we can get to 3,500 and so forth. So we are getting the capacity up, not to mention, of course, that we still have the apartments and so forth as well to be filled. And so we are making progress there. The entertainment, the places to go and things to do. We are seeing some developments there as well. So all around, we are putting together a package that can satisfy or meet the expectations of the visitors. But it's important to reckon that we really need to be able to be getting in minimum of 3 to 4 international flights every day going forward and so forth. So, and I think the time will come and so forth. We then have to, we just don't need the flights, but we need to fill the seats and so on. Because there's a load factor requirement. For a while, American Airlines, New York, Miami, St. Vincent, and so on, was coming in similar full or near full. But we now need, as we have more flights, that we now need to have more people coming on these planes. And it means that therefore the marketing activity by the relevant authorities must be fantastic. And all of us have to be marketers as well of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not just the tourism authority, but also and not just the airlines themselves, but also Vincentians at home and Vincentians abroad, because there's a cost if the planes fly below the expected load factor figure, then there's a cost to that. And most of the islands in we don't talk about it, but it's something that I think that should come out in the open at some particular point, that there's an airline revenue guarantee that agreement that usually signed with pretty much everywhere. All of them, right? It's not just St. Vincent and the Grenadines and so forth. So it is in our interest to get the flight scheduled, but also to see what can be done to fill the planes.
I think also information should be given as to what the amount is with respect to the revenue guarantee, so that people can see it as a target that they must not reach or must go below in considering marketing. So if let us say revenue guarantee is $10 million a year, we may say to ourselves, we want to keep it below that for as long as possible, or even get lower and lower and lower. So I think the information should be shared.
Yeah, well, I'd leave that to the authorities to address. But you're right. I think that we have to. I mean, when like we have estimates coming up shortly, and then they will debate the budget and so forth. But you have to put something in relation to the airline revenue guarantee. But and you just can't get into the optimal figure that you feel that you will hit 87% or whatever it is load factor every time and so forth. You have to budget for when the days when you may have another hurricane Beryl, or you may have issues with, for whatever reason, the months of September, some of the hotels in the Grenadines are closed and so forth. So you have all these kind of things to deal with and so forth. But all of us, we need to appreciate the numbers, and then all of us play our role in getting the persons here. But more, as important, maybe even more importantly, is that the visitor experience has to be superb, has to be fantastic from the time they land, from the time they reach the immigration officer, they go through the baggage handling outside into to where they get a taxi or to being met by someone and so forth, to the hotel or wherever they stay, that entire experience. And like I mentioned earlier on, you have to have fantastic things to do by day, on land, on the seas, and by night and so forth. Great food, great people, great entertainment, and so forth. And we don't just need sandals alone to do it. That experience can take place within the confines of a sandals, but it can take place. It must take place outside as well, everywhere.
Gerald, even as you're saying that, there's a tour operator who excites me because he excites his customers. I don't remember his name now. He runs a tour bus service
From where?
from here.
But
from
what
this-
part do you know? What
Oh,
part?
I don't know. I remember he dresses in white out. Last time I saw on social media.
Just like a pilot.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. And he always has something exciting going on. He'd be singing, he'd be kind of offering drinks, food, and that kind of on his store, on his bus store.
His bus too is an experience in itself.
It's an
And
experience.
Looking at the clips, I've seen,
Yeah. I don't
the
remember his name
visitors
right now.
Seem to enjoy it tremendously.
Yeah. And so it's something of that type of thing I'm sure you're referring to, the experience outside of the standard, outside of the cruise ship berth. Outside of there's something, he makes it so exciting. And I'm sure he gets a lot of customers. I don't remember his name.
I do not. I don't want to venture to call a name. I believe in one. So, but if it's one person, let us have 10 of him or
I agree.
20 of them and so forth.
Doing
And then
different
we can
things.
doing things like that.
Yeah.
And it must not be being a tour guide cannot be a mechanical process done by rote and so forth.
Yeah.
I'd say, approaching the entrance to the botanic. And then that's why it must be something exciting and first time, so that when they buy, they're not buying what they see, they're buying you as well, the driver, the tour guide, and so forth. It's an entire experience. And many of us would have gone on tours outside of St. Vincent and so forth. You feel the same thing, and the quality, the knowledge of the person make you feel as if, well, where this person get all this knowledge and information, how do you make this
And
place
energy.
come alive and
And
energy and so forth,
Yes.
It's like one time I was on a boat in New York Harbor going to around the Statue of Liberty. And the way he spoke is he spoke about the Statue of Liberty and the French and their donation. And so you almost feel just a little bit more, and then you see the Statue of Liberty start to move and dance and so forth. And so that is the kind of thing that's the kind of thing that we will need.
Somebody just shared the name of the outfit. It's Foreign Tours. That's
Foreign
right.
Tours, yes.
That's the one.
Yes.
The last clip I saw, he was singing this song by this English guy. He's passed on. I don't remember his name. Chameleon, something like that.
Oh, Boy George.
Yeah, he was singing that, but obviously
Culture Club.
he must have known that he had an English clientele in his thing. So and they were all joining in and singing and having fun. So is that kind of experience, Joel, I would like to see reproduced, so that the visitors are into it. It's not the regular kind of hum try kind of thing. But
Yes, and then of course the same thing applies to the food, our gastronomy and so forth,
Yes.
what we eat and so forth, and what it makes St. Vincent and the Grenadines a very special place, and it's a happy place,
Yes.
and so on. And that is why I keep speaking often about why people love to go to Aruba
yeah,
and so forth, because this is what Aruba makes you feel as if when you're there, when you're leaving, that you're leaving.
you're sorry.
You're sorry. You're leaving too soon, and so forth. And so these are some of the things that when we train our tour guides and we train our operators, that we got to recognize that it's an ethos
Yes.
that we have to ensure that it's instilled in what we do. It's a character, a feature of what we do, not something that is mechanistic and rote. So
The person just sent me the name of the gentleman. It's Quincy Lewis. I just want to give kudos to him and his foreign tour business. He's to me, he's doing exciting things with his business.
Yeah, well, big up to him. So I'm just saying that in a nutshell, as the flights coming, and we have the 4 flights yesterday and so forth, we will have 4 flights next Saturday and the following Saturday and so on. But this is something that we need throughout the week regularly, and we have to do what we have to do. Someone mentioned, just for pushing in edgeways, that we're talking about the issue of, well, I see in the front page, even the commissioner of police mentioned that he feel a sense of unease, I think, about, or uneasy is this, the uneasy situation in St. Vincent and Grenadines, where with regard to the issue of murders and so forth. And we have to all play our part and so forth in addressing this particular issue. And yeah, so it is something that's not just for the police or to address. Of course, naturally, the police is centered in the Ministry of National Security, but all of us have a role to play and so on to see how we can stem this thing, because we really chronic a chronic level or threshold is 30 murders for every 100,000 persons, whatever part of the world and so on. And we are significantly above 30. So, but back to the tourism bit, is that we have something good to offer, and we're developing right now. It's accelerated, and we should be pleased about what we are seeing now, but we also have to do whatever we can to ensure that we do our best to reduce the rate of murders. And I think in speaking with the Prime Minister, this was 2 Sundays ago, I mentioned about the level of tolerance and the whole issue of civility and so forth. But it's something that we have to keep beating the drum. We have to keep doing it all the time. All the stage display both positiveness about harmony in the land and working together and so forth. And I think that if we can get that done, I think even though we have come a bit late to the business of tourism, that I think that we can get to a level that is satisfactory to us all in short order. Having constructed the airport, which eventually now have to be expanded, is that maybe we can actually hit the 100,000 figure in terms of growth in 2024, but I don't think we'll get there in 2025. And then let us see how we can get up to, in terms of the stay over visitors, we can get up to the 125, 130,000, 140,000 in short order.
Well, as I said earlier, Joel, I see it as development in action. And we have to remind ourselves that development is a process that happens on multiple fronts, and that development is an ongoing one. It's an ongoing process. And it leads to progress in the final analysis. More people employed, more income generally in the country, and itself is a platform for further development. So it goes on. It's a goal as it is a process. And we have to recognize too that in development, there are sometimes in the landscape, there are unpleasant things which are happening, and there are positive things, not unpleasant. And unfortunately, and you hinted at it, and you keep making reference from time to time, that there's a level of disorder and lawlessness that's happening, which you have to nip it. We have to come to grips with that. Like, for example, some passenger van drivers, both in terms of the way they drive on the roads, the way they maneuver in the traffic, and in terms of how they treat other drivers, how they treat passengers, a lot of disrespect and disregard. And we have to find a way to deal with that, because even as we talk about other areas where lawlessness is expressed, it's cumulative, and one influences the other. One area, what happens in one area influences what happens in the other area. So we have to, throughout, maintain a level of law obedience, that we don't tolerate a certain minimum level, in my view. And this is where the police have to come in. And especially, I want to mention, Joel, just allow me to mention one thing, one clear example. When you enter in the bypass at the terminal building, where there's a sign, no entry to vehicles over 2 tons. But yet, every time I drive there are vehicles.
Where is this? This is a
From if you're coming from Villa.
yeah, at Arnoldville.
At Arnoldville.
Yeah.
And there's
Okay.
a sign there put up by the police,
Yes.
traffic department.
Yeah.
And it says no entry to vehicles over 2 tons. And yet, every single time I drive by there are vehicles greater than 2 tons crossing there. In fact, just this week, a bus carrying tourists was behind me and crossed there. And these are small things, but they're so important and significant. And they contribute to the maintenance or the non-maintenance of law. In the same sense that last week we mentioned the animals that are at Diamond,
yeah.
on the thing. In fact, the same gentleman told me that one of the owners, said he don't care.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he told me when I saw him in the week.
Okay.
And again, an example of lawlessness. Why do we tolerate these things and expect life to be orderly? It's
You see, you appreciate you understand the reaction of the prime minister. Was had to deal and respond to these things quite frequently, because I thought it might be a little bit too harsh. That I thought my first reaction that we could impound the animals, and then if you don't come to collect it within so many days, you have to pay a small fine, and then it is sold and the meat donated to wherever, hospital or wherever, something like that. But when you get that kind of reaction, is something else. Also, Cecil, you said about the 2 tons.
yeah.
I heard on a radio station, someone must have called in and said, but we don't know what does 2 tons mean. Is it the tear weight or the gross weight and
Interesting.
so forth? So and then what vehicles would be two tons? So some of the SUVs are 2 tons and so forth. But we know generally what is like a 2-ton truck. I think it actually says a 2-ton truck, I think.
I didn't see truck. I just see maybe truck is there.
But be that as it may, and maybe we can get a clarification, because if you're driving, every truck driver knows their tear weight.
Of course.
There is license based on their tear weight.
Of
and
course.
So forth. So they should supposed to know whether or not they're supposed to be crossing that bridge at Arnoldville or not, or whether they should make in the way around, and so on.
Explain what is tear weight.
The tear weight is the weight that of the vehicle without any load.
Okay.
But I've seen both examples, as I made mention of this bus filled with tourists that was crossing there just last week behind me.
And there's something called the maximum gross weight.
Yeah, which would be the combination of
yeah.
the tear weight and how much it can carry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are also restrictions as well as to how much it can carry. If it's supposed to be a 12-ton truck, it's supposed to basically be carrying, no more than 12 tons or 14 tons and so forth. So there's a restriction of combined of 12 tons, both the tear and with the load that on its chassis. So you have those issues. But Cecil, you were just speaking about this thing. I understand, like, violent crime is a complex social issue. If it was not complex, I think like through the Caribbean, because we have the problem from Trinidad, Guyana, up to
Up to
Jamaica,
Jamaica and
right?
up to Bahamas,
And the
actually.
Bahamas and so on. Yeah. So we understand the complexities involved. But the issue with regard to the van drivers and so forth, the way they drive, the music on board, the type of music, and so generally, is can that be regarded as a low hanging fruit?
It is a low-hanging fruit, and this is why I was making the point. If you start there, deal with that, then when you move up, it becomes easier cumulatively, because if you can deal with that low-hanging kind of fruit, it gives a step, it provides another step in which to start to deal with the one higher up. And I think that's the approach we need to take.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying it's going to solve murders and so on, but it's a step other up.
because it leads to the question of order and so forth,
yes.
and tolerance and civility and so
Yes.
forth.
Yes.
And so forth. And then you're carrying children on board and so forth. A 12-year-old, a 14-year-old in that kind of circumstance and situation and so on, living that every day to and from school. What do you expect when that 13-year-old becomes 23 years old? Or
Maybe
28?
before they become 23, So yes, I'm not putting the responsibility and the blame only on the police, the law enforcement officers.
Well, we have to also look at the passengers.
Well, that's
It
the
seems
point.
as if the
Yes.
vans are more engaged in entertainment rather than transportation. Starting with the way they decorate themselves, the music, and then the application of certain skills in driving that they show off. What's happening now these days also, there's always seem to be a camera nearby to show them, to show off. So social media becomes a factor. So if we get the vans, and which will be difficult, to be just plain and simple and just carry passengers rather than provide entertainment. And that is what's happening. There's a particular social media platform that is dedicated to showing off Vincentian vans. And
You mean the recklessness?
Yes,
in
yes,
their
yes.
driving?
And every time you look at the clip, there are people around cheering on. So that is
So it's
something
like
we
excitement.
need to address. Yes,
Excitement.
that's something we need to address.
But I
Well-
think though and I understand what you're saying. I'm still holding on to the fact that I still feel that is something that could be treated and as a low-hanging fruit and be addressed once we look to enforce existing in law. These are things that happen in the public domain and high periods, rush hour, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and so forth. This is not like someone that happens in the dark of night on a lonely side road or something of the sort. This is, and so forth, filled with people in the bus and in the van and outside the van. Why can't that be addressed? Is it that they're going to lose business? Well, then what applies to all?
But it can be addressed. These drivers have to have a license to drive. They have to have permission to drive. So that's one, their license. The owners of the vehicles can also be held responsible. The insurance companies, but I know insurance companies themselves are very vigilant these days, and some of them might even they have become reluctant.
Yes,
license
some
vehicles.
insurance companies have
Yeah.
withdrawn their
Yeah.
thing for public
So,
transport.
so there are disincentives to bring some level of management to the whole thing. And well, the ultimate is for the government itself to introduce a public bus system, a public transportation system. I mean, I don't advocate that. I think those persons who want to operate vehicles, buses in particular, as a way of earning an income, I think they should be allowed. But with the exercise of every responsibility to the public, I think that has to be maintained, in my view. And I think that the means must be provided to the police to monitor and see that things are kept in order. Otherwise, what we're going to end up with is a lawless society throughout. It's happening already. Anyway, is that the way we want to live as a society, as a civilization? I mean, we, yeah, we need to recognize, and I do recognize that this is 2024 and things are changing. It's not like it was in 2000 and so on and so forth. People will tell me that. But the point is that doesn't mean you can't live orderly as a society. You can't live orderly as a people. I don't think so. Yeah, Joel.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I would just want to just make a change because we may open the lines, and I just wanted to get a couple of things. Other
Yeah,
things
okay.
one, while it's fresh in my mind, I just wanted to say that we mentioned before that about the passing of Lennox Bex Gonzalez, that he died in Miami. And that he has been cremated already, but there's a memorial service for Bex taking place at the Catholic Church in Kingstown tomorrow, Monday the 9th at 4:30. And so on. I imagine that the church already will be, but I think still feel obliged to mention just on air because I think that his contributions has been significant. I also just wanted to mention that the passing of a young lady who with whom I was associated for a few months. I didn't know her, even though I knew her family quite well. But I didn't know her until sometime about 14, 15 months ago when a friend who was listening to the program now actually referred it to me when I was having issues with my back and I needed someone to support me in my work that I was doing at the tourism authority at the time. And she was at Mona campus in Jamaica, and but she was off for one semester. She had just had one more course to complete her degree, and which she did in earlier this year. And then she went on to start a master's program. And then in a matter of little or no time, she went from a pain in the back to leaving this world to go on to another in a very, very short order. She just passed away a few days ago. And it just so happened tragically also that her mother passed away quite at an relatively early age when she was, I think, 7. Her father also passed away quite early. And I just want to publicly extend my sincerest and heartfelt condolences and sympathy to the family of the late Celeste Williams, the entire Williams family, and so on. You know most of the Williams family of New Montrose and Belair and Gomez and so forth. And just to express heartfelt sympathy about her unfortunate passing. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to add, Cecil and Pigeon, a couple of things. We talked about this afternoon and about the football at Victoria Park, and we know about the stores in Kingston will be open. Some of them will be open and so forth. So as you're going shopping, I just want to remind persons or suggest to persons that where possible, if you're buying gifts for friends and family this Christmas, as far as possible, try and buy something that is locally produced. There are books. You can go into bookstores in Kingstown, and you can get books written by Vincentian authors and so on. That would, I think, would make a nice gift. They're printed T-shirts. They're garments produced by Vincentian designers and so forth. There are quite a number of items were on display at Invest SVG's expo at around Independence time. So and you can reach out to them, and or you can get information from Investors BG if you're not sure who to contact and how to contact these persons. But it certainly would be good if you can actually support local enterprise, local, especially the local creative arts in particular, and promote St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole this Christmas. In terms of promoting St. Vincent, just mentioned, well, 9 mornings we starting fairly soon all across St. Vincent, and we have good music from the who I call the dependables, the Bowmans, CP Hall, Luther, and quite a few others, and the music is rich. It's beautiful, and it puts us in a particular spirit. And I would just like us to do what we must in terms of enjoying and making the best of Christmas, of our Christmas season, especially if we're going to support local. We have golden apples around Pigeon, and we start to get limes again. What else we have available? Bananas have returned.
Yeah, it's
seems
coming
to be
back
trickling
gradually. Yeah, but we have ginger beer. We have ginger.
Yeah.
We have sorrel coming in.
Yes, and there's sorrel as
Sorrel,
well. Yes.
And a number of other fruits are in already, actually. Well, they've been around, like Five Finger.
Yes, I
That has
saw
been around.
Five Fingers also.
Yeah.
So
And
use
passion fruit.
what we have
Yeah.
and so forth. So let's hope that the price is decent and so forth, and that it would not burn the pocket.
It depends on what you mean. Decent for who?
I just hope that persons can actually be able to that we are
afford,
not making up for the months
Yeah.
when we lost business and so on. So therefore we have to double and triple our prices. I hope not. But be that as it may, I still hope that they can get the sale and that Vincentians will patronize local businesses, local vendors, local farmers, local fishers, and all the best for all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines this Christmas season. Speaking about supporting local, I just wanted a couple of minutes just to make a quick comment,
Of course.
and I'll be as brief as possible before we open the lines and so on, and a person who may wish to call. So I just wanted to say that we underestimate or we don't recognize the kind of talent that we have in St. Vincent and Grenadines as a whole. And by talent, I'm not speaking only of the creative arts. I'm speaking about overall organizational talent, the management acumen, and so on. The skill sets that persons would have demonstrated or honed over time, and so forth. And we see it locally, and we have seen Vincentians at demonstrating but they are living and working, whether it's in Houston or Dallas, Texas, or in Brooklyn, New York, or in Toronto, or in Trinidad or Barbados, wherever, that we can act. We know that there are Vincentians out there doing good work. So we have the talent. We have the ability here to build St. Vincent and Grenadines, whether we are based in here at home or whether we are based outside. If you are a Vincentian national and you live in Luton or Diego Martin, Texas, New Jersey, or elsewhere, and you constantly show excellence, keep on doing what you're doing. And also, if you care to, and if you're listening to this program, use Issue at Hand as a forum to share what you do, or use Issue at Hand as a conduit to get the message across to others within St. Vincent and Grenadines who would wish to know what you do and how it can help them and help St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole. I don't think that we speak enough about the talented Vincentians that we have at home and abroad. If we do so, it will help to accelerate our development as a nation. Our constitution speaks to, by and large, to how we should govern ourselves, and it focuses on government and elections and parliament and things like that, by and large. But in terms of how we should help to build our nation at a non-governmental level, there is no Magna Carta, there is no blueprint for specifically written, documented, as far as I'm aware, unless you can correct me, and so on, to say, what is the blueprint for how we can develop St. Vincent and the Grenadines at a non-governmental level, and so on. And I'm broadened to just beyond the private sector. So I want to say that we have done very well in terms of our financial services sector and so forth, particularly the credit unions, share owned by ordinary and forward-thinking Vincentians. And it is not yet a lifetime, Cecil and Pigeon, since the first credit union was established in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I think it was in the early 60s. And so on, when the government employees cooperative credit union was first established. And then
I think it's 64.
something like
Pigeon?
I think the Gecko is 64.
64.
Celebrating 60 years this year.
that. Right.
I
And
think Kingston probably started in the late 50s.
so Kingston was
That's
before.
right.
Before.
Yeah, Kingston was.
Yeah.
Was before. Okay, well,
Yes.
well, my apologies where that is concerned to Cecil. But be that as it may, the point is made though that it's not to say that they've been around for 100, but look at where we have become, where what has happened with regard to our credit unions and so forth. They are being competently managed by Vincentians at both an executive level and in a board capacity, and both of you, Cecil and Pigeon, have sat on boards of
At one point. Yeah.
Pigeon, you were on teachers.
I saw on Gecko's board as secretary.
We on the board. We were on the board at the same time,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, okay. And I sat on Gecko's board just for a short while,
Yeah.
for one stint. In fact, I'm now 42 years as a member of Gecko. I remember exactly when I joined in September of 1982.
You sound like one Sandy. He has passed on. Pigeon, remember
Yes, I
Sandy?
remember Mr. Sandy, yes,
He remember
yes,
his
yes.
number.
Yes. But you know, every now and again there may be a couple issues. Like not too long ago, there was an issue regarding the separation of the CEO of Gecko, and there were some issues where some members expressed a view that the process was not quite the way it should have been done. Right?
Yes.
I don't know if you recall
Yes,
it. And
I
then call
remember.
for special meeting and so forth. But generally speaking, there is hardly any rancor or anything like that where these organizations are concerned. They handle people's money, they handle people's assets, and it's millions and millions of dollars. And they're run by us and so forth. And I think that we have done well. Sometimes we
Joel, I just want to say
go
that
ahead.
although there's no rancor generally, you're correct, but except to say that at general meetings, the discussion is robust,
yes.
very robust.
And
And
the example you draw a while ago,
the example of the special
demonstration
meeting.
of the members' capacity to control situations that may arise every now and then.
is good.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And so on. So then we have these organizations say they're doing well. We have I said 3 or 4. I didn't necessarily want to. Let's say okay, we have 4 credit unions that are functioning well, and so forth. Some have gone by the smaller ones have gone by the wayside or been co-opted into the larger ones and so forth. But I think that they have done well. The cooperative spirit in St. Vincent is alive, and we did not depend on management imported from elsewhere. As far as I recall, it has always been Vincentians running the credit unions here, not like some of the banks, the internationally owned banks and so forth. Um, it isn't a case either say that we had to have for financial institutions that we have to have leadership of European stock in order to make things happen. This is not the case. This is typical Vincentian flesh and blood running these credit unions. And I
Well, Gerald, as a matter of fact, it was a reaction to that, that the credit unions were formed. Because people felt that we could run things, and when we could organize our own savings and loans and so on, we could run things. And it's really that reason why the credit union, counter to what was being done under colonialism,
yes,
it was a counter.
And look what has happened now.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
look where we have gone. We have built in terms of economic development. I believe that we still have a void to fill in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We need foreign direct investment. I say we have had a few and support. We have had over the years, and as the most noteworthy one of recent times is sandals, if you would regard sandals as FDI. But we still have to build our own ethos, our own character, our philosophy of nationally owned non-governmental enterprises at a level that rises above the itinerant entrepreneur who essentially sells goods and services below the radar of the VAT. So itinerant entrepreneur, it could be somebody, okay, yes, I want to run a couple barber shops, or I want to run some small. And by and large, the annual revenue might be 275,000 or 300. So they are very important. They're very important. And they may fall, for example, get the prime grants and so on. But there's still a void that is significant, and I said it before in the program, that needs to be filled. And I had mentioned before that we needed to have investments in the range of 5 million, 7 million, 8 million, and so forth. And whether you bring in equity or whether or not you're going to finance houses and so on to get loans and so on to take care of it. We ran into a problem, and it's in the newspapers. I think it's in this weekend's newspapers, for those who would have read it. Spoke about the response to a question by the Minister of Finance about the whole CLICO, BICO debacle, and how much money that St. Vincent economy lost. I think it's $200 and something million. It's a lot of money, and that's the actual what we say that we lost due to what would have transpired with CLICO and so forth. But the impact, to me, the impact goes broader and more far-reaching than the direct loss in terms of dollars and cents, because this is something that goes on for a while. And one factor to consider is that persons may become a little bit more risk averse. They might figure, well, the money was relatively safe and secure, and they're going to get a 6%, 7% interest, or whatever the case might be. But now they are saying, nah, I ain't putting my money there. And I think it is unfortunate now that you're putting money in financial institutions, Pigeon and Cecil, where if you have a checking account, you get zero interest. If you have a savings account, you get 2%. Now sometimes, and if you add up the compound the inflationary pressure since 2020 to now, it doesn't break it out annually. It's higher than significantly higher than the 2%. So persons, the value of the dollar that you have between 2020 and now has dropped and so forth. So, but your money isn't, you put your money in the bank and you are losing money by leaving the money in the bank. So you take it out, you want to do something with it, you spend it, you try and so forth, you may get more for it. But all it does is just add more to the inflationary pressures and so on. It makes the situation worse and so on. And this is one of the things that would have transpired in places like Venezuela and so on, going back in the 1990s into and coming forward and so forth. So there are these kinds of problems. So I would love to see where you can actually the propensity to save would be fueled by better and higher interest rates and so forth on savings. I recall the days when a fixed deposit used to get 7%,
I
interest.
remember that.
Yes, but look where it is now and so on. But I come back to the main point, right? Talking about the credit unions and so forth. And I do hope that our credit unions would be able to give us more than a 2% on savings and more than 2.25% on a fixed deposit and so forth. But the main thing that I really
But Joel, what the
Yeah.
credit unions encouraging people to do now is to, well, you can invest in shares, permanent shares,
yes.
and then you could, depending on how the credit union does, you can get a larger percentage return on your permanent
Okay. Well,
shares.
Well, then that is something to be encouraged and so on that that can be done. So hopefully that
And remember the leadership could declare interest or declare dividend. But the ordinary member has a contribution to make in accepting or not accepting it compared to the other banks.
That's from the floor, usually
From the floor,
at
which is
AGM.
an advantage again of a credit
Being
union,
yes.
that you virtually have some say in where that is concerned.
Joel,
So-
if you don't mind, there's a call.
Yeah,
Let me
okay.
take this call and come back. Good morning. Welcome to the
Good
program.
morning, Mr. Ryan. Good morning, Mr. Providence.
Good morning.
I just want to make a suggestion. Good morning, Pigeon. That topic that Joel and this Sunday morning program is very important, but I feel we should have a program geared towards conversation with social transformation. That when you come on to deal with the credit union and deal with public social.
Are you there?
I've lost you.
I think we've lost him. He may wish to call. Yes. He may wish to call us back.
Okay, but I'm going to wrap up on this point anyhow. So I hear you is making about social but this one part of the social transformation process anyhow. So I just want to close by saying that I mentioned before about the void in terms of economic development and also social transformation, and that the credit unions have a role to play. But what we haven't, we will struggle to find entities or individuals making that $5 million investment, $6 million, whether it's in the tourism industry, agro-processing, or wherever they might consider most beneficial and provide the kind of returns that they would want. But I believe that a cooperative approach with the strength and support of the credit unions to give that kind of impetus to drive this thing forward, I think is critical, and a conversation needs to be had on it. It is not something that will happen overnight, but I would like to suggest even the government and so on can. I don't necessarily want the government involved in that per se, but it doesn't, as an enabler, that the government can say, let's have a discussion with the credit union and say, what can be done? How can we fuel our economy in a particular way and so forth, and support so that if the credit union say, well, all right, we can actually defend and make sure to safeguard our business, but at the same time an investment in well thought out ventures, and that we can actually put in 5 million or 8 million or 10 million and so forth, that we can actually lead the way and allow other people to invest along with us as well.
We have another call. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Cecil, Joel, and Pigeon. You know, when you're having this kind of conversation, you drop me out.
Well, tell us.
It's the man for some.
Yes, ma'am.
Bank of St. Vincent.
I actually drew you out to the supermarket yesterday morning.
Well, no, I visit there every Saturday morning, so I believe might be the opposite way around.
Oh, okay.
You just that you already before me.
Yes.
Yes, good to
Yes,
have you
yes,
on
Joel.
this topic. Yes.
Yes, Joel, you raised some valid points, and broadly, it demonstrates the need for financial literacy and financial information, especially as we move forward in an economy where where people depended heavily in the past on saving their monies in a financial institution that would have offered them in the past 5 and 6 and 4% on the investment on the savings in the institution. Now with those rates are going down. If you know, not only the deposit rates are going down, but also the lending rates.
Yes.
In the past, borrowing money is whether to invest in a business. The financial institution lending money is now to invest in business, not at the 10 and 12 and 9% in the past, but you're getting interest rates as low as 4.5%, 5.5%, 6% for business at local institutions now. So the interest rates are coming down on both sides, on lending and also on deposit.
But Marv, can I just ask
yeah.
you, are those rates available for mortgages or just commercial?
No, but both the financial institution advertising mortgages and so forth.
For as low as 4%, 4.5%, that kind of figure?
No, I've heard 5.5%,
Okay.
and those kind of those rates are there.
Okay.
It's just that people need to refer to the financial institution.
Okay.
And now, right, so the thing of it though is that there's not much opportunities out there in terms of where people can say save or raise capital and that kind of thing. Especially with spark tech with a lot of people who are not financially literate, to take advantage of the areas that we have opportunities to invest.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I've heard several financial institutions, credit unions as well, advertising Christmas loans for $30,000 and $40,000, right? Think of if you mentioned us now about the 5 million investment. If as a banker, I cannot tell you, if 10, 15 persons were to take that same Christmas loan, they qualify for it, and put it together and form a company and approach any financial institution in town with a good bankable proposal where 15 people put in 20 or 30,000 of the Christmas loan that they borrow. Tell me which financial institution will say no. There is need for financial literacy in the country for that level of conversation and education so that we can get our people to start looking at how they can co-invest. There's a legal framework that could protect your investment in terms of whether you form a company or what. But we need to have that level of education so that people will understand different financial investment, that you can make investment and how you can protect investment. You did mention about shares in, for example, credit union. There's a bank that I know of who sell shares, and over the past couple of years, they have been paying dividend regularly every year, I think with the exception of 1 year, and the dividend has been in most years more than the rate of interest in the bank.
Which bank is that? Which bank are you referring to? You can see.
No, I leave that for the public.
All right, the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's your bank.
And there are credit unions who encouraging members to invest in their permanent shares. So as they make more profits, they could then share those profits with its members, as opportunities for investment. But I just think that there's a greater need for financial literacy information more in that area that could help people to make much better decisions. So that people could
Russell,
sit down and look at
Russell, who would you see as playing the leading role in getting such a idea organized into a framework that people could take advantage of?
Well, it is something that we need to do collectively. I
When
know
you
my
say we,
institution-
who do you mean we?
we as in all of us, for example, like what you're doing now, but that you need to organize some of it specifically for this type of discussion. We rather than some of the other radio programs that others may have, that every day we meet upon one another rather than having some conversations that could benefit us as a society. Also, the financial institutions, the government, the private sector. We need to have these conversations.
Yeah, may I just add to what you've just said? And I'm thinking aloud that there's the CD, but there's Investors VG, because they have a responsibility as well to reach out to local entrepreneurs, at least to get the conversation. Maybe they can even talk to the credit unions and see how we can, and then just do like what Jam Pro, basically that's what Invest SVG is similar to like a Jam Pro in Jamaica and so on. And you have these templates and so forth. So sometimes the people may have an idea. You mentioned about the 15 of one person's go and get the $30,000 loan and so on. But if they can get a document in their hand that says this is what is required to take this idea off the ground. This is what are the challenges that you may face if you don't do certain things. This is the kind of return on the investment. This is the payback that you might get. This is the economic profit and all those kinds of things. And there are documents that could be prepared and say, here's a document that you can work with. Go to the Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines, or go to, well, I trying to think of another bank, but couldn't think of any other bank.
Go to a financial institution.
Go to a financial institution.
As you were talking credit union.
But I still see, fantastic as the idea is, someone or some institution has to take the lead in getting it going. And that's the question I'm probing.
The central bank actually has a month of activities, but this type of the country is taking off in terms of economic activities, and you can see it. You're having several international flights coming, hotels are being built, right? There's need for the ancillary services, for for entertainment and to bail out for the tourism products and so forth. There's so many areas still that you can have investment, but one or two persons bringing a proposal for $1 million to a financial institution where they don't have much input more than the idea, compared to 10 people bringing 20,000 each as the input, with all the knowledge collectively behind them in terms of making that business a success, is a total different story, and these are the things that we need to focus on. I know my bank next year we plan to go out in the public and do a lot more education in terms of the products and services that we have, because we have an excellent online service where you do all your banking basically from your phone.
Yes.
A lot of people are not aware of these type of services and products. So.
But hold on, Mark. Russell, in that instance, you got to blame your institution. You got to make that information more available to the public, so the public know they can do your banking from the phone. I do it from my laptop, which is the same thing, the phone.
So we have done a lot of that, but we plan to beef it up more next year. So be more out there and go through the market and educate.
Good idea.
But may I ask a question? If you are approached, if a bank or credit union is approached by Investors VG and say, look, we want to develop a blueprint for investing in agribusiness, right? Where you can actually see 10 persons coming together and investing $40,000 each, and they have their sweat equity or the equity of $400,000, and they're looking for a loan of $800,000. and so forth. And they can actually develop these templates and so on that they can actually study and say, well, should we go to the bank yet because this thing looks good? Or maybe there's some other question we're not quite ready. Would your financial institution, for example, be receptive to the idea of helping to finance the development or the creation of these templates?
But they put together the proposal, and bring it and let us sit down and discuss. At the end of the day, anything that is positive and feasible and makes sense, of course, you're willing to sit down and discuss those sort of things. As a matter of fact, there's a program that is supported by the government and the central bank, where the government provides guarantee for small business loans. And I think that is something that, as you mentioned, Invest SPG also, we need to, we could get these institutions.
Yeah, this is a partial guarantee, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So Invest SVG might be appropriately placed to be the facilitator of this idea, to be the to facilitate the idea of promotion of financial literacy and provide information and even facilitate those persons who may wish to be.
I think we're in a plan to actually work together to make sure that we could get more out of it and get more information out there. As I said, in terms of dealing out the tourism product, as we expand and grow it, there's need for these type of investment in these areas. So as I say, it's really more about literacy and information, so that the average man could look at a financial statement and basically understand what the balance sheet and the income statement telling them. Look for what is it telling you, so that you can make an informed decision into which institution to be willing to invest in and how you want to invest your money.
Well, it's a good idea, and I think it should be followed up. It'd be a good thing to get contact as Invest SVG to see their willingness to be a facilitator or some other entity who's listening.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Have a good day.
Yeah, Pigeon said,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, just take it ready to, like, for example, if you want to invest in a catamaran, right? And the catamaran might just be maybe $2 million and so on. That falls within the ballpark and could be owned by 6 or 7 persons.
Let's take this call and come back. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Ryan. As I call back, I want to know what I just cut out before the conversation finished. But however, I think the guy who called after actually elaborate and expand what I really want to say, Mr. Ryan, because we need to have some discussion, target discussion about and development like we partner expanding it, because Mr. Providence just bring out a lot of discussed idea in this program that need to be expanded. So this is all I want to say.
All right.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes, and we got you.
Yeah, you understand, because I don't know how I just cut out,
No, well, this happened from our end. It happened from your end. But anyway, we understand. We understand the point you're making.
I like the public to know that, because what happening, sometimes people just meet me on the road and tell me, they just want to cut you out. You understand where I'm coming from? Because we have to understand we are...
No, but hear me. We didn't cut you out. Yeah. Your phone, okay. I don't know. Something wrong.
I just want to know that, because
all right,
want to make a point. We are three stream in our society, right? And the ideas and they must flow from the three stream without hindrance. Okay, my brother?
All right, then. Thanks a lot. And
thank you very much.
Okay, Kwame.
Yeah, Joel, sorry.
Yeah, so just making the point, like, we really don't have enough catamarans. I am aware that, and I use that, I'm trying to think of something that fits into the range of, not 200,000, but maybe 2 million or 3 million or 4 million. And a catamaran, for example, is there. And then you can get the information as to what kind of revenue that you can get, and then the return on it, what it is to the repairs and maintenance, the expense for running it, the fuel and all that kind of stuff. You can do that. Or somebody, let's just take for example, like out at Holiday Inn, if you they may need for a nice sports bar, which you can get some meals and so forth there, but and so in the same area, and to enhance the diamond area even further and so forth. And it might say, well, okay, I need something of a particular size, and it's going to cost maybe about $1.5 million for the structure without before the equipment and all of that. And type of pension might be 2.5 million and so forth. And then you start to work on the returns. You can get information from tourism, you can get information from whoever, but the information should be ready and for things that if you have the idea, but you don't have the other information, you can go somewhere in St. Vincent and get support almost right away.
But if you recall, Joel, when Finance Minister Gonzalez called the program 2 Sundays ago,
Yes.
and in fact, at his speech during the handing over of the Holiday Inn, he did mention, because at the example he gave, and I just want to repeat it, that persons who may have interest in establish a complementary kind of service to the Holiday Inn Express. I mean, clearly, it seems to me there's a willingness on the government's part to facilitate that.
Yes.
He did mention that experience when he was asked about the availability of food service.
Yes.
Maybe, so there is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then don't necessarily stick on it. You know, like people, we have had this whole saying since I was a young person that we say that partnership is a leaky ship and so forth. But there may be certain structures that will be put in place to entrench and solidify that type of venture.
But once you put a legal framework
in place
around,
yes, and then you can get the advice. Well, you can link up with an auditing firm who can support you, or maybe the credit union itself might want to play a role, and so on. So they might invest 33% or 51% or whatever the case might be to ensure that things don't go awry and so on. Things like that can happen, and I think that we have to encourage more Vincent, because we have saying over and over again that we have the talent right here in St. Vincent Grenadines. If we can manage well, why can't we own well?
All right. Okay. I'm trying to understand. There's a call coming in, but it's not happening. All right, so let's skip that. Yeah, certainly. That I certainly agree with that, and I would like to see more of that happening. Following the lead of the credit union, it can happen. They have demonstrated it. The credit unions have demonstrated it, and it can happen. All right, so let's just announce the number that you may wish to call us by: 457-9997. That's the WhatsApp as well as the regular phone line. So you may wish to call us there if you want to be part of our conversation today, or you may wish to send us a WhatsApp message. Either way, we'll be in touch with you, or you would be in touch with us on the program. Make your suggestions and, intervene in the discussion that we're having now. We have a call. Let's take it. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good afternoon. Just want to let you guys know that tomorrow will be 45 years since the Union Island Uprising in 1979.
All right. And who is reminding us? I guess the person doesn't want to. Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask him the significance of that, really.
December 9th.
But what's the significance? We can come back. We have a call here. Let's take this call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Providence.
Yeah.
My name is Timothy Cyrus. I listened quite a while to your very healthy conversation. But I just wanted to go off a little bit. But this is about the Ministry of Agriculture will come in, because I can remember as a little boy growing up in Trinidad when NR was the Prime Minister, and Pamela Nicholson, she was agriculture, said buy local and build Trinidad. Buy local and build Trinidad. I said, well, all I know is always coming to excuse me, Christmas time. He said, we don't need no apple. So we have plums, so we call golden apple. We have plum. We have walking apple. Put that in because we importing more than we exporting. To buy, so we don't buy. So when you import the apples, you pay how much for the apple, then eventually it's spoiled. They can't. They have to send food around it. So let us buy local. But say, well, encourage the people you're doing, buy local and build Sindins and grenadines. And you go advance further than there. So what I say in the I go in Mr. Pigeon in the pharmacy. I buy in moringa. I buy in Carly. It's like a pack, $10, you know. So I say we have plenty of that.
But hold on, they're from St. Vincent because you're saying buy local. Are they from product made in St. Vincent?
No. So
But-
I'm just bringing that in.
But you're encouraging us, your listeners, to buy local.
Yes, you understand? Buy local, you know. Buy local and build St. Vincent and we go advance because we're importing more than we're exporting. So anybody could say he going out.
You mentioned those products as examples of items we could produce locally.
Yes, that's what
And
I'm saying, you know. Yeah, because I had to buy them sometime. All now it's cold season. You see him, thing is the same body full short. They carry that in the place and invest in them and giving us days flu, but it's the bush. It make fun and we have a lot of bush like that, like say it. Now we hear the bush coming out, you know, mango leaf, guava leaf, himself leaf, and all kind of good for that. So we could invest in that kind of area. And as the pharmaceutical call don't want you to do it. Yeah. Because we have plenty that you could export and you're able to go along. Because some of these guys, the slippers and the sandals come down, they come down to test the soil, come down to test the bush. And when they go back, they go up in the lab. And we know how to pay big money for it, where we have it down there. So that's my contribution, you know. I don't even make sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for...
You know, Mr. Cyrus, if I just add to what you just a friend just mentioned to me a couple days ago that she actually takes the moringa leaf and then I think she dries it and then grinds it and into a sort of a powder and uses it on different products and so on. And it's the results, the benefits are known, and she believes strongly in the benefits that she's already deriving.
Yeah, because when I come to St. Vincent, I go up and host at the bush, moringa, and all kinds of different things like that. That's right. These things that beside that you would be fruit leaf, they say be fruit leaf now going good for sugar. And so we could go in that area and test it out and see we could export some of these things and you could make some money out of them. Because whenever anybody come to St. Vincent, they always want to bring us some bush. Because when you bring the books to America and you go to the pharmacy, you pay and less money for it. And we have it down there like nobody's business.
All right. So thanks for your call and your suggestions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You know, just yesterday, Cecil and Pijan at the airport, just on that lookout point.
Oh,
and
yes.
so on. And the same gentleman, Evan Roberts, he was just, when he was there, he said...
By the way, he sent a message to Haley up and he confirmed that, yes, it was a nice meeting.
Yeah, okay. And we were there, and then he went across on the bank on the other side of the road. And he said he just picked some noni.
Oh, okay.
And so on. So he's going.
That's Jumbie sauce up.
Right. So and then he's going to go home and make his noni juice.
Okay. We have a call. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yeah, greetings. Blessed morning to you. Yeah, give thanks to you, brother Cecil, Pijan, and Joel, and the rest of the audience listeners. Yeah, give thanks again. You know, I was off a bit with my WhatsApp and so on, you know, after losing my line for about 16 days, being cut down from a tree sent by Vinlec. They took about 16 days before I got my line back up, my internet, you know. No coordination, Joel. Something had to be done, you know. But during those high winds, I had look at a wire near to me. It was touching. A lot of big fire was, you know, eliminating from it and so on. It was around 1:30. I tried to call Vinlec. There's no way I can get emergency number. This is a thing I'm reiterating with. All these
Bongo Shaka, the emergency number is in the telephone book. I mean, in the telephone book. And but I mean, you called to relate a story or you called to read something else?
Yeah, just that quickly. But sometimes
Okay.
you listen me, you'll know what
No,
I'm
no, no, no,
reading
no,
up
no,
to.
no, no. It's not because of listening you. We have
I'm not
limited
going.
time.
I'm
Hear
not
me.
saying.
Hear me. We have
um,
limited time. In fact, 3 minutes is the limit. So I want you to use up the time productively. That's all.
How then you tell Mr. Russell he limited to 3 minutes? Cecil, what? If you listen me, right? What
No,
I'm
hold
saying
on.
is that
I
there's
make that.
emergency number.
Listen
I
to me.
saying there's
Listen to me.
emergency number.
Listen to
There's
me,
no.
please. Listen to me. As the person who is here managing the program, I make that determination.
Yes, I know that.
Right. Okay. Mr. Russell was saying
So something you
something
be
different from
taking
what
up
you
all
say.
my time.
Mr.
And you
Russell
still
was
want I to
saying
finish.
things different from what you were saying. Completely different from what
Well, you're
you're
not
now saying.
listening me leading up, you know. So what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, you have 3 minutes. That's all I
Well, you
want you
keep
to know.
interrupting me. Each time you interrupt, you're taking a minute or 2 seconds from me.
My
What I'm
friend,
saying, there's
my friend,
emergency
I'm
number,
not here to
right?
argue with you this morning. I don't
But
intend to. I don't
I'm not
intend
arguing,
to
Cecil,
argue with
but
you.
it is
I'm
not.
telling you the rules of the program.
Yeah, but you keep
Simple.
saying and you keep taking my time again.
All right.
Look how you
Call
keep
again.
going on, right?
Call again. Call
Okay.
again. I'm sorry. Call again. This one is gone.
Cecil, for the benefit of our listeners, VINLEX emergency number is 456-1540.
Yeah, you may wish to repeat that because I mean a lot of people know that.
Yes.
I know it.
I would also like to say that I have had cause to call that number on a few occasions, particularly St. Beryl, and I have not had a problem.
Same thing
Same
here.
here.
That's why I
Getting
have
through
it
to that
right
number.
in front of me.
Same here too.
Same thing here.
Whenever you call VINLEC emergency number, you get somebody.
Get back. Yes.
Yeah.
You get somebody.
And you get response.
Exactly. Well,
So
Bongo
maybe
Shaka
that might-
Bongo Shaka is calling back. Let me take the call. So just morning again and welcome back to the program.
Cecil, you easy, no boy. I give you some push-ups, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cecil. If you had listened, I didn't speak up. There's no emergency number. I said, there's no toll-free emergency number. You gotta have credit, right? I only had $1.60 on my phone. So, but the man that answered, I try to make it quicker. So I tell me gotta turn off the current, but they didn't do it. But in the morning they come and did it, you know, around 12 o'clock, and they turn it off, and then they send some guys cut the limb. That was all I was trying to say. So we need some where it's toll free. You mean, Joel, where you mustn't have no credit on your phone. You may see an incident happening and you have no credit and you want to call, you know, and you can't.
So who you
Right,
making
that's
that
my
you
point.
making that appeal to who? To whom?
To VINLEC.
No, well, it can't be
all the
VINLEC. It
others.
has to be the service provider.
Yeah. And
I mean, sorry,
Cecil,
not
you
the service. I mean the telephone service provider.
Yeah, all of them. What you believe, right? That flow and all. I was trying to call them because the guys of them had cut down my line from the 9th of the month, and I didn't get myself back up till the 16th. And you know what, Joel? Like there's no coordination between VINLEC and Flow because these people say they haven't had no message from them informing them of what transpired. You know, I had to get a lawyer invention to get her secretary, whoever, went directly to them and say they coming from this office, this happened and that happened. And then in a day or two, the guy came and put it. So I was without 16 days, okay? But I like to commend Flow also. There's a new innovation they have, Joel, with a department actually they set up to look into people. But these people who's calling from overseas because the lady that spoke, she was speaking from St. Lucia. But I negotiate with her, Joel. You know, I'm a good negotiator. And I got $70 took off my bill for my December, right? Due to I lost 16 days. She was very accommodating. We spent about 44 minutes on the phone, discuss a lot of things, and she agreed with me a lot of things that need to change, okay? So I usually go off record and talk with these people and share my opinion, hear what they're saying. And they will tell me off record, look, they agree what I'm saying. Flow need to up the games throughout the Caribbean, they get in the same complaint, right? So I like to commend that lady in St. Lucia. I don't want to call name, I have a name, I have a force to contact that link for her there if any problem met it out.
Bongashak, may I ask a question, a direct question to you as well as to Cecil and Pijan? Forgive my ignorance.
Yes.
But if you have some emergency numbers, like if you're calling the police, 999, do you have to have credit on your phone?
Is it 999 911?
911. You know, it's called that.
Hold on.
Call
Good
that
question.
I'm
Joel
asking
is
the
asking a question.
Can I call
Oh, I think you
911 then
finished.
without credit on my phone?
You should, yeah. I try call it too, but it's not going through.
Well,
You know,
because
a lot of them, I sit down and I go to the phone book, and there's no emergency number
all right.
for phone.
Okay, well, what we do, right? We'll check it out and just double check, because I thought that was the intention behind, based on the circumstance in which you mentioned a short while ago. We'll check it out and see, and then
we need to.
Wait, let me just finish it, and then if for something like Vinlek as well, if that can be included in the thing, and see whether or not flow then kind of come in. So we look at it and we come back on the next week Sunday.
I think some of the smartphones have an app where you can pre-register emergency numbers that could be used at later date.
Whether you have credit or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need up there. But
all right, yeah. Okay, go ahead with your main thought.
Yeah, the main thought was small business enterprise, right? You were discussing, and I heard when Math came in and so. Yeah, I was just throwing a thing at you with Math, you know, because it was important. Yeah, I know you had already talked, so you got to make way for certain discussion. I know all that, so I just throwing out that's provoking Cecil.
You must not provoke. You must not provoke anybody.
I don't want you to provoke, but just
all right. I know what you mean. Go on.
I know derogative way, even to
I
lead
know,
up to violence. Right, because provocation is a serious thing. But the small business enterprises, right? I have an idea, Joel. I'm going to elaborate due to time. But the small business enterprises, I'm sending out a thing to my friend, the CEO of the Tourism Authority. I need to see something like set up a village or something. It could be at Black Point, it could be at Raraku, where you have put it to the tourism, to the people with the tourist ships and so. Let them know that there's a local food session with happening where tourists can come. Going like it come like a semi-little village where you have local, you see how people live, right? What people do, in particular food and drinks, okay? And like a setting like that. Warwick is a nice place, and get the tour bus take the people there. Where they could, you know, upon my game want to experience eating natural roast potato and so on.
Bongo Shaka, let me ask you, why would you want to take it out of the community and take it to Black Point or wherever? Why not have it in the community itself?
Right. Cecil, you're right, you know, because my first thought was in the village. Then I saying, well, if you go in a village, how could you catch somebody maybe roast a breadfruit or doing some outcook? And that's an idea I had first, and you are right. I agree with you. But then I switched to the other area like Raraku. But my first thought was village. But maybe God will let people know, okay, these tourist people come in and set up yourself that way you can, you know, do a little roast bread for outside cooking or whatever. But it's an idea I have, you know, because some place. Yeah, some places looking at it, Joel, in the world where you have natural attraction for tourism and people way of life. So some people want to know the culture of people. So that's the idea I have, you know.
Okay, just to respond that in Jamaica, they actually have where the tourists can go to a particular thing that they learn how to do jerk, chicken or jerk, whatever jerk meat, then they eat they eat what they prepare. And so on. So that is a tour that is organized. We attempted it on a couple of occasions for 2 years at Rawaku and so forth. But it, as far as I'm aware, it was discontinued. Maybe she didn't think. But the point is that it is better served in the community. I think it is something that the tour operators who are listening to this, if they're not doing it, and maybe one or two are doing it right now as we speak, and we're not necessarily aware that they're doing it, preferably in a community and so forth, where they can actually eat local food or even help to learn to prepare and eat what they prepare.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll see where it is, and maybe somebody will call in and
yeah, thanks, man. That was my idea. And I know I didn't want to mention Jamaica, but do it happen in Jamaica. When I was there, I saw it, you know. And when we travel, we look for places I saw here. We don't go for no fancy hotel, fancy restaurant. Right, Joel? You travel a lot. You want to see how people living, how people moving and so on, how people, you know, congregating and setting up themselves. So
yeah, Bongo Chaka, it's more genuine and it's better for the community, because it means other persons in the community can benefit from that.
and people can make friends also.
Make
Or you might
friends,
see a
but also
person,
make a living, make livelihood
right,
from
with
it.
a person might doing some big things or what, and somebody might be
Exactly.
in Chester and they may have a link and then link with them and write your marketing thing can be done.
Yes.
And as I say, small business enterprise is the engine growth of any society, any government system, GDP, everything. The small business enterprises, because these studies have been done with the University where they found out that throughout the years that's what the building block in the building of GDP in the country. So emphasis on aggression should be put more into encouraging people to small business enterprises. It go a long way, you know.
All right.
So thanks a lot.
And thanks for
thanks
this
a lot,
for
Cecil.
this suggestion. And that's a
Yeah,
great
hey,
idea.
we got to pull up Dr. Jared Thompson. Cecil,
No,
they
he's
come
not
for
on the
me,
program.
no,
He's not on the program.
Yeah, no, I know, but they come for me.
But that's between you and him.
Yeah,
That's
man.
between you and him.
I don't deal with him. Yeah.
Okay, fine. All right.
So thanks a lot. Have a blessed day, and everyone within the country.
All right,
Bless
then.
up.
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, man. Give thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. And on that, we have a suggestion saying, I support Bongo Shaka's call for all service providers to have toll-free numbers on their emergency lines. And the person goes on to say, also the idea from Shaka and Cecil to have the tourists taken to experience our food and culture can be done in Greg's, wasn't very concrete, Greg's, similar to what they do on National Heroes Day. Set up the village and sell local food and have the culture on show. That's the idea, really. It can happen in any community, and it can be done in collaboration with foreign tours and all the other tour operators. That'd be a good way to put in implement Bongo Shaka's idea. All right, so you're getting there. Useful suggestions, and so far we want to thank people who called about those suggestions. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, just saying that Rosal, selling them down, Rosal, developing a program like that, and it's a very thing that we have to spread in the community. Them.
Yeah. So you're saying
Rosal,
in Rosal, they're developing a
program like.
They're doing it now.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, selling them developing that program.
Mm-hmm. When
Kevin Patterson, the Rosal drummers, them.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah,
and how is it taking off? How is it taking off?
Well, the last time I speak to him, they're now building up the thing, and the same idea Shaka talking about, that's where they head into.
Okay, all right.
You understand? Because Rosal have a nice way in the bush where they have flat area, where they could do drumming, other discussion, people do the
But Rosal is not in the bush. Rosal is not in the bush.
No, and not in the bush, but I say behind the back, it have an area in Rosal that you could go through and do this kind of stuff, you know.
Well, the village itself would provide a good location. Here it is. The highest village in St. Vincent, the highest settlement in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Always cool up there.
Instead of them here, they will call in and elaborate. Okay, myself, because this is idea that we have to float and develop, because tourism now began to take off, and exactly it has to broaden out within the community and from all levels. Okay,
all
Mr.
right.
Ryan.
Thanks for calling. Yeah. Jolly ideas are taking traction, and a lot of spin out from your earlier suggestions.
Yeah, we've all said that especially in services, the best form of marketing is word of mouth, right? And when you have like this community tourism, you build bonds between the people here and the people who came from over there, and so forth. They exchange numbers, they communicate with one another, and so forth. They exchange ideas because they have shared interests. And what happens more than likely, they'll come again, and so on. So you don't have to spend money to have these persons come into St. Vincent 2, 3, and 4 times. They will come, and so on. And not only that, they act as ambassadors for St. Vincent. And they will write, and so on. They'll write about the Rose Hall experience. They'll write about that experience, and so forth. And that is what you really get out of community tourism.
So it's a good idea for the tourism department or even the ministry to
The Ministry of
invest.
Tourism, I think, has been doing a lot of work on that.
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
they need to. They should invest more in those things.
They could go to Rosal by boat.
Well, they can come from Rosal by boat. They can go there by boat as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they can come from North Leeward.
For those of us who have issues driving along that hilly area,
Mm.
you could drive up from the Chateaubriand jetty
Okay,
rather than driving straight along from Kingston.
from Kingston. Pigeon, people keep saying, like you just did, keep saying, what is it, Dong, is that?
Yeah, Doug Leeward.
Yeah, but it's not down, it's up.
Colloquially.
Just kidding.
Doug Leeward and up Georgetown. Up Windward. Doug Leeward.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
But we actually had a tour, you know, Cecil and Pigeon. That's correct. We call it Aquaterra. That we used to go one way by boat and the other way by bus.
Okay.
And so he experienced both the seascape and the landscape.
Courage as part of its service
yes.
for tourism. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I hope Bushaka is sending us a message saying that he's in agreement with the person who suggested Greg's, and that Greg's has already, well, they have the Garifuna culture setting in small replica of a village, and people and local food. So he's suggesting that he's supporting the idea of Greg's. But there are a number of other areas in St. Vincent and the Grenadines where you can have the similar thing being replicated. That is why I think the tour operators would be good entities to work with. They can receive the operators as well as the communities can benefit mutually from such an idea. Pigeon, you had said earlier on you wanted to speak on the question of football.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
first of all, Jolly had other issues related to that you wanted to raise. I'm not.
No, I think no. I'll come back in if
okay, all right. Yeah, Pigeon.
Yes, Cecil, just to let our listeners know or remind some of them that the secondary and primary football finals will be held at the Victoria Park this afternoon, beginning at 3. In the primary school level, we have Kingston Prep School versus the Kittels Government School. In the junior secondary, Central Leeward Barley Secondary versus the Georgetown Secondary. And again, the Barley Secondary versus the Pittsburgh Secondary in the secondary senior. It's interesting to note that 4 of the finalists, 4 of the 6 teams from the Leeward side.
Barley is always in the final.
Yes.
What it is that make them so strong or make them stand out?
It's all year training and natural talent.
Mm-hmm.
But what about leadership, though? Isn't it like
Of course. The coach, this name is familiar to you, Chester Morgan, and one young.
Was Chester Morgan is the coach, football coach as well?
Yes, he's assisted by Wilson. I can't remember Wilson's first name. But it's the admission is $5 for children and $10 for adults.
And the match is going in tonight? They're going to
They start at 3.
Oh, so they're going to finish before night?
Should. Just around that time. Yeah.
The match is 60 minutes or most likely 60?
Yes.
Yeah.
60 as opposed to 90?
As opposed to 90.
I think the senior match tend to be 90.
Okay. You were going to...
I was going to say that it's being held on a weekend, a Sunday. Traditionally, these matches were held just after school. 2 o'clock, 1:30, that kind of time. But now we have the opportunity now for parents and other
yeah.
well wishers to come out and cheer on the teams.
Mhm.
And there should be a healthy crowd around at Victoria Park today.
Well, a lot of people will be in town today
Yeah.
for shopping and other things. But so yeah. So the stores would benefit from people being in town, and hopefully the football games the organizers will benefit from being in town. From the people who are in town shopping, they have money to spend, so they'll be spending money. $10 or $5. You said
$5 for children
Yeah.
and $10 adults.
Yeah, that's within the Christmas budget, the Christmas spending budget, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's remind our listeners again the number to call is 457-9997. For WhatsApp, you can send us a message there as well. Or you can also call us straight. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning. It's afternoon already.
It is
Okay.
afternoon,
I didn't,
but you need
I
to
didn't even realize that.
hear me. We're getting a feedback from your device, so just shift away a bit or turn it down. Turn the volume down.
You still hearing it?
Yes, we're hearing it
Okay,
still.
all right.
Are you there?
All right.
Okay.
All right, then turn it on. However, I'm not hearing you all big up our football thing down here.
Which
Our
football thing?
team
Which
down
football?
in Brighton.
Oh, are you calling from
We have
Brighton?
lighted-
Are you calling from
lighted
Brighton?
football.
Are you calling from Brighton?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And what do you want us to say about Brighton football facilities?
Well, you need to pick it up too, because we have bright lights down here. We haven't floodlight football in the night.
Good afternoon
I
to you,
hear
Lucy.
nothing about it.
Do you attend? Do you attend the football floodlight in the
I
night?
don't have that. And
I know you don't have to, but I'm just asking you if you attend.
Oh, no, I didn't go. I didn't go. But
But Joel was giving you special attention just now.
oh,
I was saying a very special good afternoon to you.
thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just, as you mentioned, that I see something in the newspaper. St. Vincent and Grenadines notices hereby given that an application being made to Physical Planning and Development Board by the St. Vincent and Grenadines Football Federation to construct a new institutional building, community training facility in Brighton. And then they go on to say where you can see the app. So they actually not just putting in lights, but they're doing more development work
More development.
at the facility.
I was saying they need to build they had a stand there before. I don't know why they broke it down. There was a stand there that you could go and sit down and they didn't have covering.
We're not hearing you well. You're breaking up. The reception, you're breaking up. I wonder if you could just shift a bit so we can hear you better.
Well, I don't know where to shift because
Okay.
there's the house phone I see, you know.
Okay, go ahead
Yes,
then.
so I don't know why they broke that stand. They could have put a covering on it if they wanted, but it was a nice stand,
Well,
properly built stand.
well, maybe this is what this application or this notice in the newspaper is all about. Community trade. Maybe it's a combination of a place for people to look at the game as well as for training of one form or another. I have one question though. Is I found that access to the Brighton has been a problem in terms of the road. How are things
Yeah, the
there?
road is a problem in truth because the traffic that comes through here.
We're not hearing you clearly at all.
Hello,
We're not hearing you
I
clearly.
don't know what's the problem,
Okay. All right,
but
but
I'm standing right next to the phone.
okay.
But anyway, we have a problem with the Wi-Fi. So And the phone is connected to the Wi-Fi now, It's not separate. The house phone is connected to the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So it's not separate at all from that.
Okay.
So that's maybe why we haven't problem. Yes, so I am proud to see that they put some floodlights there, and the kids could play football in the night, which is very good. And I am hoping that the surrounding areas will support the effort because it's very nice.
And this is without disturbing the neighborhood or anything like that. You don't have any problem with having the lights on.
The only thing is that I have heard somebody complaining about the noise because they play a lot of music before they start. That's the problem. And when they finish, it goes on very late.
And how often do they have games going on?
Well, I don't know, but it seems as though they had games for about 3 nights already for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the Football Federation, Cecil and Peter, have to manage that. I mean, you don't want to create a situation now that you're making progress and you're negating the progress by that kind of thing,
I'm sure it'd be possible to control the music level.
And this program, program extended some time ago an invitation to the Federation to always call us and tell us what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah.
And just across from you, Luce,
but hold on, we want to big up Brighton though. We didn't neglect it, but we want to big up Brighton and the Football Federation and big you up for seeing the importance and the significance of night football, especially for the young people. You said, they could be engaged in doing that.
Yeah, they will be able to go there and play football and get some of the energy out.
Yes. But you see what's happening in that whole area, Brighton and Diamond, you're all becoming a town.
But I want to say so long time.
So why did you say that?
I'm glad you mentioned it. Serious. The only thing we need down here now is a little mini mart or something like that.
Oh, there's none down in Brighton yet?
No, there's none down here.
Oh.
Okay, but
Actually, I understand there was a piece of land designated for that, but somebody went and sold it and put a house there on it.
Oh, okay.
11 quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
but you have things happening more and better than what's happening in other parts of St. Vincent. That, what do you call that thing? The motorized kind of.
Oh, the motor thing. Yes. I know what you're talking about. But that is up on the top by Hupples there.
Okay, but does it come down to Brighton? Does it pass? Does it track?
I think I saw one driving past it some time ago.
Oh, okay.
But normally they go down to Salt Pond, it looked like.
Oh, down to Salt Pond. Yeah, okay.
Yes. They're coming from Salt Pond.
All right, so you guys are having bright living down there, lights and big hotel.
Sometimes,
and sports.
You don't have to put on no lights.
Yeah.
Lights shining in the houses.
And then you have next door the St. Vincent Beach Athletic Stadium going to have lights just now too.
All on the other side,
Yes.
But we don't see that here though. Because we are down below that. In level.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we are down in lower than the field over in Diamond.
Okay, all right.
But we see this one here it's very very, I can tell you. Some of the houses don't put on, those that up on a little rise,
yes,
they don't have to put on lights.
Oh, so you have savings from Vinlec. You can save.
And the street lights some time ago, I don't know much. Both of them, the street where I live, went off. So I don't know if the floodlights down at the park took over.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. But have they been fixed?
I don't know, but
have they been fixed?
Them went out.
But are they fixed now?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
He came and
yeah.
fixed them, you know.
Vinlike is usually prompt with respect to those
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for calling us
Well,
and giving us a shout
Yeah.
out. We will remember
Yes.
to shout you out in the future.
All right, my dear.
Okay.
Take it easy, all. Have a nice day.
You too. Okay. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay. It's good that she called to tell us about the lighting up of and it's not Christmas lighting, it's just lighting up of football lighting up.
And I think
Good afternoon. Welcome to the
Look,
program.
Sorry to call him back, but it's important to
But if
know
you
that
saw you
that
won't-
center, that,
If
that
it's how you will
center
not call
excellence.
back. But go ahead, make your point.
It's important for that position, that thing they call the center excellence, where you could train people. You could put up players. Remember long time the national team used to have run all about to get put up here and there. That was really specifically built for competition, you know. It's built for training. You understand what you're coming from, Mr. Ryan?
Yeah. I'm following you. Yes.
Yeah, because what mean the football, I have a document where the strategic development plan called for an institute like that, where you could put up 2 teams to train technical skills and that kind of stuff, you know. So,
And that's important,
really
Kwame. That's important, especially given that the Prime Minister, when he was here the last time, talked about the league, the formation of the league.
well,
the
now you touched it. That's something they call the St. Lucia Code. Now I must mention Mr. Dells. You even notice, you know, mostly building construction start under Mr. Dells' administration, because he was humble enough to ask for the document they should lock up me and Freddie Adonfa.
Forget about that.
No, I just telling you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, listen me. The semi-pro league that the PM talking about, we could run myself into a little trouble if we don't understand it, because somebody who was associated with the St. Lucia Code should come forward and explain, because what happened with the St. Lucia Code, the FIFA, we had a discussion down in St. Lucia with St. Vincent, Grenada and St. Lucia. And it was, you notice St. Lucia and Grenada already gone forward with the semi-pro league. But we here, with the same mannerism, the new president coming, that man started so me question, because that place was hold up when the executive was moved, and a lot of money waste. You follow comment, because I don't want to say it in a radical way, but football has to go on a higher level. These men, it has something they call the general council. And one day probably hear me talking about that. The general council is really the delegates who go to vote.
But you were suggesting that there is a need to understand the semi-pro league document. Is a need to...
No,
you talk about the document that you all came up with in St. Lucia.
No, the whole document is a strategic development plan.
So you're
for
saying
the development of football.
So you're saying it would be a good idea to look at that as a basis for establishing the semi-pro league. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, and
okay.
To St. Lucian, the PM, because you can't, FIFA don't like politics mess with football. The government have its role to play. Let me tell you, the role the government have to play. It's playing field, and they could assist in getting finance for a semi-pro league, but not to pay people. The semi-pro league had to set up in such a way that the clubs them have to get sponsored. The clubs have to pay the players, because if you look at the international football is big business. We got to.
All right, so maybe those are some of the things that those who are involved in setting up the league would have to consider. People from the Football Federation and the government.
My brother, it is regrettable that a lot of we that come out there in Parliament, a lot of we people don't read. Remember?
It's all right. They would read it. They would read it if it's necessary. They would read it.
What I'm saying, you remember one time they used to have me like if I against this president, against the president, because there's a format what internationally football have to go with course. You may people tell you play football throughout the length and better the country. You know why they say so? You're nine side. It's because they want when you structure the football from a club point of view. Your club throughout the length and better the country. You might not play in field. You might have a 9-a-side playing field, a 5-a-side playing field coming out in Pacific area. But you could have club coming from all quarter of the country. So there's a discussion supposed to be had. But I believe some of the people that are wrong the thing is not looking beyond competition.
No, you don't know that. Kwame, you can't say that. You don't know that. You don't know that. That's your own. That's your own opinion. That's your opinion. It's your opinion. It's your opinion.
I'm talking from knowledge base.
It's your opinion. You can't say that. The people them are they're meeting and they're discussing. They may come up with something which might surprise you. Let's give them time.
Is a scientific approach. And when you come in and you meet the St. Lucia code taking place, you should try to understand it because St. Lucia, Antigua, St. Kitts and this country have the semi-pro league. Because we have to raise the game. You understand me, Mr. Ryan?
I understand you, but I'm also saying don't pass judgment until things start happening.
Well, I go past judgment in it because I will tell you something.
All right, let's not get the story. Let's not get that story.
Must go on.
All right.
Continuity must go on, right? And when you come in and meet something, you must study the reason why it starts and build on it.
All right.
Okay? All right, my brother.
All right, then. Thanks for calling. Kwame. Yeah. Oh, somebody's asking, Pigeon, are they selling alcohol at this school game today?
There's a standard policy against selling alcohol at school sports.
Okay. So there shouldn't be any.
There shouldn't be.
Yeah, okay. This person's trying to call us back. Let's hear what he has to say again.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon again. Welcome.
Yes, I'm calling back a second time, Timothy. Well, I come and speak about you talk about Rosal. So I say Rosal is a very nice place, you know. And here you most feed the road. But if you fix this road, Mr. Ryan, you see that when you come to Chumako, you go down to Road Bank, you have a place called Hooker Valley. If I 3 of us, that is father of us, come back up there. And you could come through Silver Hill. You go through Silver Hill, you go through Rosal. Over Rosal, you could come back over, you could see Billy's Hill and go on yard. And you come back right down around there. We had the agriculture center with the kettles and them there. From there, you drive back to Long Line. From Long Line, you come back to Coast Hill. Come down here. So you need road fix. You know the most feed the road, you know. But I know these things take money, but just don't train out there. So that if you pass to Chumako.
So you want Rosal to become a tongue like Diamond? That's what you're making.
Yes, because I don't Chumako.
So you feel jealous of Diamond?
Yes. And you say, the Bible say, Joe get jealous of good works. When I did the more, I just pass through was all to go to my mountain. Yeah. And number 2, Chumako, if you finish it with Northly, Chumako was one leaders village in when coming to sports. When you finish play sports, you come by the school or the lodge and dance. But Mr. Pigeon, from the time that you take the school, the park and put the school, the only person they stand up and say, no, take the Anthony land. Then Napoleon Anthony father is our father. Yeah. So take the family land and put the school and lead the park. From the time they take the school.
But Timothy, that is not in Chumaka. That is not in Rosa. That's in Chumaka.
Yes, I talk in Chumaka. I Chumaka man.
Oh, you switch.
You switch.
But when last have you been to Chumaka?
I was last year every year. I'm not coming home this year, but every year I go along. Yeah, because my neighbor set up a shop right by the school. School. I go to there before I go to
The
Trinidad.
shop, there's Azad.
Azad. Yeah,
Azad Cecil. Okay.
Yeah, I sent it to, my father sent it. I released it to that guy James who running in now, Carlos James, grandfather, and my grandmother took most of them. Yeah, so like I say, so I'm only saying that to put that into because if we develop these things, when for us today, they would like to see the sweet to it's like the greenness, So it takes a lot of money, but you just So all
So
right,
you're making the case for that whole the not there to become a tongue, just like diamond. All right.
Okay, all right.
That's recording. All right.
This is I have one. Do you have another call?
No, not yet. Go ahead.
There's something that appeared in the newspaper. Someone, I think it's Sadamo Toby from the Port Authority, speaking about persons. So if you were notified by your shipping agent that there's a barrel to be collected, go and collect it. Right? Don't wait until you organize your home and thing, and if you have curtains in the barrel and so on, you ain't clearing the barrel until and so forth. Deal with it now to avoid the congestion.
Yeah, I noticed the Port Authority is making an appeal for people to go and collect their barrels ASAP.
Yes, but however, my thing is that I want to say something that's a little bit off dealing with the barrels, but something a little bit different. Some time ago, I was told about 25,000 barrels that come in from November to December, just that short period.
That was last year.
Might have been sometime before that.
Okay.
Right? I don't know what it was last year. Maybe someone from the Port Authority may be willing, even at this late moment, to say exactly how many barrels they had last year and how many barrels they anticipate this year, and so on. And let us know. But what I really wanted to raise is the question about many of the barrels are for commerce rather than for the benefit of a home or two. And that's understood. I think everyone knows that by now, right? That a barrel comes in and some of the items are sold on the streets. But what I realized from my own experience in recent times, given the cost of living in the United States in recent times, is that you go to a wholesale place or like a BJ's or a discount store and so forth, that the cost of items have gone up significantly. So when you pack your barrel or your big box and you ship it down with whomever and you bring it to St. Vincent and then you put on your markup and you put to sell the things on the street, you realize that you're not as competitive as some of the traditional stores who might be able to get these same items or similar items from traditional sources and so forth. So I just wanted persons to be aware of that fact, that when you pursue that course, even though that it is something that is desirable, you may end up that even that you don't have to pay VAT and you're not you're selling, you don't have to pay rent and you sell it from the back of a car or something like that, that it still may well be that you are not competitive with the stores. I'm just saying for whatever it is worth.
Mm-hmm. But in any event, there's a lot of barrel at custom, it seems, and at the port, sorry, not at custom, but at the port, and the Port Authority is making an appeal to say to the owners of those barrels or the person to whom they are addressed, come and clear your barrel.
And are they being held rent-free?
No. If beyond a certain time, you got to pay for the barrel.
Well, I don't know. Well, it doesn't seem as if it's from that appeal as if they have to pay rent.
A
business person, but I can't even remember the number of days now.
I think it's five working days, I think, from the time the containers are opened. They start counting the days.
Yes, okay. Well, you have to pay warehouse rent, so you avoid that payment and so forth and do what you have to do.
I mean, it's not much, really, truly.
But
it's not prohibitive.
The concession comes in to include rent?
No, you got to pay rent separately. Beyond, I think it's 5 days. But it's not much. It's really minimal, kind of.
I was wondering about applying a charge that will spur people to come in quickly and pick up the bar before the charge goes up.
I don't know, but that's for the authorities to look at. But I do know isn't the for storage is not much. And I mean, you have 5 days. I mean, it's a lot of time.
But this would not apply to the so-called business person because they want the barrel right away to
I
sell.
don't. But there's such a category as business person who own barrel, Joel?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know.
I call them itinerant entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And that's all right, sometimes that's how it goes. But I'm just asking them to evaluate the circumstances to make sure that it makes economic sense for them to do it.
Yeah. So this is not a situation where families based up there send their barrels down, or people from down here send up money to buy.
No, sometimes the families send the goods.
With the expectation
that they will
sold.
Be sold. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're just about there for today. Let me just give a shout out to Uprising Youths Car Wash. I like the way they spell youths. YUTHZ Car Wash, and they're providing a steaming cleaning service in Vermont. There seems to be a regular follow of the program. Well, at WEFM anyway. So we just give them a shout out and hope they have good business for the season. Yes. So, gentlemen, we have just about exhausted our time, but we want to say that we are planning this. We're planning this dip, if you like, Christmas dip, Christmas love basket dip. And we would say more about it next week, but we want to have something different, something that our callers would enjoy and be part of, either by contributing to it or by benefiting from it. But we'll say more about that next week. Just want to announce such a thing is happening. It's going to come. Of course, we have to have the approval of management here, but we haven't discussed it with management yet. But we will do so. Gentlemen, Joel, Pijan, any ending words?
Just to close and saying that I know that many of us, we follow the news that is local, we follow news that is regional. I encourage sometimes to follow international news because they may actually have implications for St. Vincent Grenadines and what transpired, what took place in Syria early today may very well have implications for St. Vincent and the Grenadines indirectly. And I invite persons as much just to, whether you say on television or on social media or whatever form, just to follow the news and so forth and make your own determination as to how it will impact us in these parts.
Any final reminder to...
Just remind people to go out this afternoon to look at the football. The primary division, it begins at 3. Then the primary division, Kingston Prep versus Kittle's Government. In the secondary division, juniors, Central Leeward Barley Secondary versus Georgetown Secondary. And again, in the senior category, senior division, Central Leeward Barley Secondary versus Petit Bordel Secondary. Like I said, note 4 of the 6 teams on display came from the Leeward end.
Fair enough.
That's the capital of sports and football in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Some may wish to say culture as well. No? That's pushing it. But Joel, you didn't say anything about cricket at Arnold'sville under the light next week.
Oh, yes. Oh, shucks, man. I will be there on the 15th.
Okay.
I will be there on the 17th, and I'll be there on the 19th.
Okay.
Although sometimes West Indies disappoint me, but it's a different team this time. We'll be playing in the T20 and so on. So be at Arnold'sville and Sean. We need our number. We need the people there to show that St. Vincent means things. That with a good venue and so on, and the more people are there, the likelihood that we'll win the 3 matches. So
I think people going there more for the lime and the lights rather than cricket itself. But yeah, is McCoy playing? You know? Is he?
Is he? I can't remember. I can't remember if he was selected. But I just the other thing to them saying that if I were a businessman, I'd say I was going to, like at the Joshua Center, for example, I'm going to make sure that my thing is going to be open before the cricket and
Okay.
even till after the cricket
Okay.
and so on. So let's see how it goes.
All right. Yeah, so a lot of solid business ideas came out in the program today, ideas for community involvement too. So we would thank all those persons who make those wonderful ideas, who suggested those wonderful ideas. And we thank all those who have been listening to those ideas and interacting. And we thank the other radio stations that carry the program this morning. And we thank Kieran, as usual, for being a very able assistant as a technician on duty. He's a very able young man. So we thank you. And until next time, my name is Cecil Ryan. Have a pleasant afternoon.